Hello everyone, welcome to the first episode of The Rundown, Gamera Rebirth. I'm your host, Chris Eaton, and joining me on this odyssey is...
Lenny Romero.
So, back in my nascent days of running the Realmcast, we used to do this show called The Rundown, which we, the various members of our team would, pick a show. I ran The Flash, and we did 3 seasons of The Flash before it started getting iffy, and we're like, maybe it's time to kind of jump off here. So, what we're going to be doing with this show is we will be watching, commentating, and giving our thoughts on each individual episode. So, as you're listening to this, you can watch along and listen to our commentary, if you will, and our musings about it. And that's the basis of the show. So, I asked Lenny to be on this because he is the biggest Gamera fan on the face of the planet. And when I watched this, I'm like, okay, he's gonna lose his damn mind. And did you?
Oh, absolutely.
So, no better person to discuss Gamera, to discuss the Easter eggs, to discuss the nuances. Because you love your Gamera.
I love my Gamera.
And
I won't say I'm the best on the planet, though. You're going to get me in fights over here.
Oh, no, don't worry about it. That's the beauty. I mean, we're literally looking, as you're listening to this, his gigantic Prime 1 Gamera 3 statue that is a absolute work of art. So with this is episode 1, and the title is Over Tokyo. So we're going to get going. If you're listening to us, pull up your Netflix app, pull up episode 1, and let's get rolling.
All right, here we go. Netflix series.
So, did you ever think at all you would ever see Gamera come back?
An anime?
As an anime?
At the very least?
Yeah.
No. I thought maybe we get a movie someday.
Yeah,
but an anime?
Not a 6-episode. OVA length, too, by the way. Which is the nice thing. So we start this episode out with this sweet young boy. Obviously, he's in some sort of disarray, and he's holding this device, going on about clearly a friend that got lost. So
yes.
This is what we call foreshadowing.
He's all beaten and battered, just looking at the sunset.
Clearly, stuff has gone down.
Yeah.
We just don't know what yet. He's talking about a guy named Joe, which we will soon be introduced to. So I'm assuming if you haven't, most of you probably already watched this. This is just a fun little track. Now we get into our opening, which is the quintessential anime opening.
Yeah. If you could see one of the first images in the opening, and I'm hoping you guys have watched this before you hear us talk about it. The very first scene in the opening is like Gamera's dead body sitting there with no arm.
I do love that they didn't animate a new opening. It's one of those where they cut all the scenes from the show. You just don't know what the hell's going on yet.
Yeah. And
then they put it all together. So we're getting pretty much a spoilerish highlight of the entire series thus far. But it does have... I don't know, what do you think about the opening theme?
I dig it. Not something I'm gonna be all.
It's a little lighthearted for me. It is too modern anime, or it's too dramatic for its own good. Especially if you're doing Gamera in the way that the show is, I would have gone with a heavier. Look, I come up, you and I come up from the '80s anime.
Yeah.
We have our great themes. We have Fist of the North Star, the manliest song ever made.
Yes.
We got, the theme to Guyver, which is fantastic. And even later on shows, one of my absolute favorites... Evangelion. Yeah. One of my absolute favorites of the last decade is the Shin Mazinger theme. Because I don't
think I've heard that one.
It's as the kids say, slaps. So it's okay.
I've heard one of my friends say it sounds like for a Buffalo Wild Wings ad. It sounds like the music for a Buffalo Wild Wings ad. Don't tell me that. Now I'm gonna start thinking that.
Yeah. So now we're into the nitty and the gritty of the show. It opens up over New Guinea, Which, by the way, the nice little thing I enjoyed, like, there is a little bit of a worldwide vibe to this.
Yes.
Even though the show does kind of mostly take place in Japan, and they give you a good reason why everything's happening in Japan.
Yeah.
But the fact that all the monsters aren't just buried under Japan, they are all over the world.
Yes.
Which actually is, again, a nice little nod to the Gamera movies. Especially, I think this is more of a nod to Gamera 3. When they find the Gauss back, when they find the dead Gauss, I believe it was in the Philippines?
It was somewhere far off.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't even understand, the language was not Japanese.
Yeah. So, now we got a bunch of hazmat guys going down. There's clearly a dig site, and all these eggs start popping up, and what comes out?
Gauss, little baby one. And an arm drops. And they do what they do and start eating all the scientists that went down into the tunnel.
What do you think? What do you think of the design of the little baby Gauss?
I like it. Looks like Gauss. I like how silly they kind of are. Like their heads are almost like too big for their bodies. So
they're too big. Their eyes are all googly. They kind of look like geckos with wings a little bit.
Yeah.
But they also look like they got tumors all over them too. Like their
skin's all.
Yeah. It's just it's all poppy and tumory and that good stuff. So now we are introduced to our heroes, which is Joe,
Junichi, and Boko.
Boko, yes. By the way, brilliant move making this take place in the 80s.
I didn't know that too until you told me.
Takes place in 89. That's why there's no modern tech. Like the most modern tech is the
little radio.
The little radio thing that we're gonna get to.
I should have noticed there wasn't a phone anywhere. Like no one had cell phones anywhere.
It is. Look, man, most horror movies you can't really get by with anymore because all you need is one call to the cops, and 90% of the Friday the 13th movies would have been handled in 20 minutes. So, our heroes, which just again, they're kids, and you know what? This was a nice, refreshing thing, which they feel like real kids.
Yeah.
There was a nice little bit, again, when I first watched this, there was a moment where I'm like, they're gonna be that kind of wide-eyed pie, kind of like adults writing kids, but by today's standards. But they didn't. They wrote them by 80s standards. This thing, the thing that's shocking the most, the opening episode is essentially Stand By Me, but with giant monsters.
Yes.
So, the whole thing, it's the friendships. They're out in the damn woods, and
I've never seen Stand By Me. By the way.
You've never seen Stand By Me?
I've never seen Stand By Me.
Fantastic
That's the
movie.
Leonardo DiCaprio movie, right?
No. Rob Reiner. It's Joaquin Phoenix and or not Joaquin, but River Phoenix, his brother. It's a bunch of kids. They discover a dead body and they go on and how they spend their summer. Fantastic. It's Stephen King novel. It's based on.
I heard it. Yes.
Oh,
I remember the dead body thing.
You need to go watch Stand By Me after this. It's a fantastic one. I've argued it's probably Rob Reiner's best. So
should we mention what they're doing right now?
So they're in their tree fortress. Their clubhouse is in they have a clubhouse.
That's how you know it's 80s.
Yes. No kids have a clubhouse anymore.
They're allowed to play outside. A clubhouse behind a cemetery, no less.
But yes, which is fantastic. They have everything. By the way, this is always the thing in these shows that I don't know if this really happened because they have shelving put up in there. I don't know if kids were just more efficient back in the day.
I mean, they don't have phones now. They just try to just use their hands to build everything. So
they're trying to. It's like the Simpsons episode where they're trying to pull money to buy the Radioactive Man issue.
Yeah.
And then they find out what happens when it's oh, you all have ownership of this. They want to buy a two-way transmitter.
Yes.
Because
Boko, he's moving away, so he can study at his new school or whatever. So they want to be able to keep in contact with each other.
It's the theme of friends. Can you hold on to your childhood friendships? Will they survive? And the sad reality is, we all know we've all had it. You've had friends in first grade that you haven't talked to in decades.
No.
And that's the realization of it. And so these Boko's the one that's really heavily kind of laying on it, where Joe and am I blanking on the third one?
Joe, Junichi, and
Junichi,
Boko.
thank you.
Junichi's the one with the glasses.
It looks like, by the way, the character model looks like the kid from the first season of Digimon.
Yeah.
Doesn't he? The one that had the beetle.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Oh, is it Joe? I think his name is Joe too.
It might be. I forgot. But the beetle that turns into the weird walrus creature, which I never understood Digimon evolution.
No, the beetle turns into...
The beetle turns into Kabu...
Yeah,
Kabuterimon.
Yeah,
Kabuterimon.
Kabutops.
Yeah. So, as Junichi's needs to go take a whiz, they find a poor little turtle...
stuck in these vines.
Yeah, there's like this weird marsh behind, in this forest that they're all hanging out at, but which again, by the way, no parent today, they're like, where are you hanging out at?
Yeah.
It's like, no, just sit at home. And of course,
Boko's our little hero, and he wants to save the turtle.
Another tidbit, because as we know, what doesn't exist in the Heisei Gamera universe?
What doesn't exist?
Yes. Turtles.
Turtles?
Turtles. Kaneko said himself. Turtles. That's why no one ever questions why Gamera is a gigantic turtle. Because he said, in that world, turtles don't exist.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Famously in an interview.
See, that's why you can't say I'm the biggest Gamera fan. I know that shit. Well, excuse me.
So they save this little turtle. They're all now muddy, messy. And pretty much it's like, well, the afternoon's done. Like, let us be on our way. And of course, Junichi is clearly the klutz. So Joe's the muscle of the group.
Yes.
He's the biggest one. Boko is the kid who looks like he's
like our...
he looks like 2 years...
protagonist.
Yeah, he's our main protagonist, but he also looks 2 years younger than both of these kids, too. Like, he looks like the little brother that's hanging out with the bigger brother's, buddies.
Yeah.
Even though they're apparently all the same age. Which, again, it's, a little variety. But
yes.
And, of course, Boko's the one really pushing this because, he can't ride a bike. He's got Joe, pedaling for him. And they're going on about, like, how Joe's always told him, like, you gotta learn to ride a damn bike. And, again, foreshadowing, character development. Remember this, because it pays off at the end.
The bike ride?
Yes, which is what we call good storytelling.
You can already tell Joe's like the older brother. He wants to take care of Boko. He even tells him, like, hey, when you go off to your new school, if you have any bullies, like, let me know, because I'm going to come beat them up if they mess with you.
Yeah.
He really looks after Boko. And I guess this is Boko's bike, too. He just rode the bike for him.
Yeah.
And took him to his house.
It's a nice Schwinn, too.
Yeah. You see Boko trying to ride the bike. Still
can't do anything. Yeah. And this is when I first watched this. I was sitting here going, okay, well, clearly we got to establish our characters. We got to get everything up. But at this point, I'm like, no, is this what the show's going to be? Like, I was getting a little worried.
I dig it though, because the old Gamera show of films were all about like the kids, and Gamera protecting the kids. So
all except Baragon.
Yeah.
There's no kids in Baragon.
There's no kids in Baragon.
The Gamera vs. Baragon's like the only straightforward non-kid one. Yeah.
I wanted to point out too, his mom's commercial just came on, and he said it was lame, and he changed the channel.
Can we talk about the mom for a second? First off, she's drawn like someone that screams at any customer service rep.
A Karen?
She's a total Karen. And this is the thing I was starting to pick up, because in the later Gamera movies, all the adults are inept and they're all a-holes.
Yeah. And
she comes off as a just Olympic level bitch.
She's literally telling his kid what we said earlier, like, guess what?
Yeah.
You're not going to be friends with these people anymore in a couple of years. Why are you even friends with them now?
Focus on your studies.
Yes.
Like the bad dubs that Mystery Science Theater would air, like the Gamera vs. Giran, when the sister's trying to explain to the two moms like, where your brother? Like, yeah, they got taken by a spaceship, and she's like, if you don't stop lying, you will not get into a good school. And you're like, what? Who wrote this? Like, what the mad hell?
Why do you have to be evil to kids? Also, throughout the episode, we see little tidbits of the attacks already.
Yeah. It's that great zombie, like the setup in every zombie movie. Like, you hear, like, the random attacks on the radios. They're driving in the car, you know.
And, everyone's just nonchalant.
Yeah,
They're not caring.
Yeah. I think that's, I only watched, like, tidbits of it, but I think the first episode of, or first or second episode of The Last of Us, we're doing that too. Like, you hear some stuff going on in, like, Jakarta.
They did.
Like, well, look at that.
Even in the video game, they did it like that.
But it's true, though. I mean, look, as we're recording this, there was a damn earthquake.
Check this out, though.
Yeah.
Like, Junichi's the only one who's, like, interested. Like,
well, and we find out Junichi's a gigantic, like, conspiracy theory nerd, too.
Yeah.
Collecting issues of Mew magazine, which was the big,
magazine of the time.
Magazine. It was like the In Search of kind of magazine. Like, all they're doing is talking about, like, lost civilizations and stuff like that. So now we're on the streets of, I think this takes place in Shinjuku, yeah. And we got two cops coming across a brood of gals who murder the hell out of them.
Yes. Like, no remorse. They see them, laser them. You see another arm fall, and bam, done.
Now, this is the point where I'm like, oh, so... Because here, like, the Gamera series has always been violent as hell.
Yes. Which I'm glad they kept for this.
Oh, it just makes it that much better.
Yes.
And the fact that, like, even more so, they didn't pull any punches on this. So now we're back to Boko and the gang running into... And this felt, again, this is where I was kind of like, all right, so you have, it's clearly the American, like, the kids of the...
Stand by me.
Yeah. And these are the your standard bullies. They're all American. They're clearly, like, the kids of, like, the
eating
soldiers.
a hot dog.
Yeah. And just completely shaking them down for cash. And so this is Brody and his gang, we don't really get the names of the other guys, pretty much, because they're just... ancillary a-hole American kids.
Brody's basically the one we need to pay attention to.
Yeah. His design looks like kind of every white dude out of a Devil May Cry game. Doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yes! He looks like every white guy in a Devil May Cry. More so even the crappy remake.
Oh, the DMC?
The one we don't talk about.
Yeah.
The bad
I still like that gameplay. Yes,
you can like the gameplay.
Kind of,
the stories.
Yeah.
Look, let's be honest. The first one's really corny as crap, but it's fun as hell, though.
Yeah.
And of course, Brody and his minions all are shaking down these clearly smaller kids.
Did you see what they said too? We got to collect the tax.
Yeah. Again, this gets at this point. I'm watching this. I'm like,
oh, Punches Joe.
It's getting a little weirdly nationalistic. Now, you can't fault them, it's Japan.
Yeah.
But this is the thing I've been seeing lately, like, some more of the stuff, like, that's coming out, like, Attack on Titan ended last year. And it had a very nationalistic, the manga, not the anime.
Okay. I was like
the manga ended on, like, a weird nationalistic, and people were like, well, what's going on here? It's like, well,
An ending I truly hope they change for the anime.
Well, we'll soon see, because that's coming up soon. So clearly the Americans are the a-holes here.
Oh, yeah.
They're the dicks. Yeah.
Like, this dude's already punching little Boko out, and he's already 2 times his size.
Yeah.
And he's telling him, I'm going to beat you to death.
And I think we got our first F-bomb dropped here, too, didn't we?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Not yet. I think it's when the gals come. So,
but you already, like, well, look, Brody and his game when they're introduced, they are it sounds like the dialogue in D-War where someone who's not American is trying to write American dialogue.
Yeah.
And it very much feels like it's like this is how Americans talk.
Oh, train. No earthquake.
Oh, I thought we were having an earthquake for a second.
That
We are in
train
Southern
always shakes my
California.
place,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm like, hold on. Yeah, we're in an apartment. I'm like, is everything moving? So yeah, no. So there's a train that goes by. Okay.
Yeah. That'll be good. We're good.
So now Boko little Boko, he's got the fighting spirit in him. He's like, I'm not gonna let these dicks
Take my money.
No. We're not gonna, because now that money was going to go to their transponder.
Yeah.
And now the possibility of them remaining friends is now gone. He's not going to lay down for this crap. This aggression will not stand. It will not stand. And of course,
the brains of the operation, Junichi's like, hey, if we're gonna do this, we need a plan.
And of course, pulls out like this map of all like. They're making
tear gas bombs.
They're making stuff out of the anarchist cookbook here.
They're pissing in it. Like, that's wild.
By the way, all their money was gone, so I want to know, it's like, where'd you get the funds to build all that? I know you're clearly taking some stuff around, but you're making minor explosives. Like, where are you getting the funding for this?
Okay, we gotta talk though. Why is Junichi using the flamethrower? Is Junichi planning to flamethrow these kids?
I mean, we might commit a random act of murder here. So now we're getting to the United States Air Force Base. So this is now where we're getting back to what we call the B story of the Gauss. We're introduced to General, Again, this is what happens when you don't make notes before you sit down.
Well, they'll give us the name. It's like, it's not Douglas, because Douglas is the name of the kid, right? Kid, Brody. You know what, though? This is something I missed on the first watch.
Mm-hmm.
So they're talking about the Gauss coming. They're getting ready for the Gauss. We haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah.
This is what I missed the first time around, because I was wondering why they're bringing jets in and they're shooting up all the buildings. Mm-hmm. This helicopter is telling everyone to evacuate.
Yes.
Like, go to emergency shelters, and these kids are ignoring it. Like, they're the kids in the arcade.
Not only are they ignoring it, the other kids in the arcade are like, by the way, it looks like everyone else, for the most part right now, has heeded the warning.
They're gone.
Like, the streets are empty. If there was tumbleweeds rolling around, you'd see them right now.
Yeah.
That's what they would be. But somehow, by the way, no one else is manning this arcade.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a thing in Japan. I'm assuming there's going to be someone manning it, because otherwise people would just be destroying your stuff. But they come in, no one else but these four dicks, and then our heroes, and they're starting to fight. Meanwhile, you still hear over the intercom of the helicopter, "Hey, get to safety."
Yeah.
And they're completely ignoring it. And so, of course, Brody and his gang are like, it is as cliche of bullies as you can get, like, because they know they're bigger.
Yeah.
And they're just laughing off. Now
I have to pay more tax.
Yep. And here Brody comes off as just your. Now here it is. The first.
That was the first bomb right there.
Were you thrown off by that? I was thrown off by that too. I'm like, whoa, wait, that's got to be the dub. We're not watching the dub. We're watching the sub version right now too.
So it's in both dub and sub. They dropped the F-bomb.
Which, look, I swear like a sailor outside of these podcasts.
Same.
But even for being like that, I'm like, whoa, that it's like hearing your teacher swear. Like, whoa, you're not supposed to say that. But there it is. And you know what? To be fair, when we get to know these characters a little more, it is how kids talk.
Yeah.
And I came to appreciate it after a minute, but it's just so jarring at first. So,
you know, I'm glad they keep it exclusive to the kids.
Yes.
Because they're like learning the world. They don't have like the etiquette yet.
They're all, I think, like Brody's clearly the oldest. He's probably like,
he's 12.
12, 13 maybe?
12. His dad says he's
12.
Yeah.
Okay. So the other kids will probably be between like 10 and 11. like Boku looks like he's 9 years old.
Yeah, Boku looks really young.
Yeah.
I think he says he's like in 3rd or 2nd grade.
So he might be about 9 or 10. So now they all come outside. The fight is stopped because there's a giant explosion.
It like shakes the building.
They come outside. Brody sees the jets
flying up. Yeah.
And we find out why, because he's the military brat.
Yes.
And they go up to the top of the roof and see these jets engaging in something we don't quite know yet. Now, this is the first time we're seeing some real action, and this is where the show, for me personally, I'm like, oh, so here's where the budget went.
Yeah.
Because this all looks great.
And then this is the one part I think we should address too. The Kaiju are eating people.
The Gaos are just devouring people left and right, which I'm like, finally! Because, look, they eat people in the movies.
Yes.
But you can't, because the limitations of suits and puppets, you can't really show it. Here you get to finally see that the Gaos are just these ravenous demon bats that just
they're munching on anyone they could see, find.
And I love that there's little details here, like they're not all the same size. Like there's some real small ones, there's some big ones, there's a real big one here, and they are now like just taking it to the U.S. military.
Yeah.
This one dude just gets completely gobbled up.
Swallowed. Not even like chewed up, just swallowed.
Just swallowed like they're eating like ducks, like just that like how they just kind of like just pull back everything.
Yeah.
Which again, you're going with Gamera, you don't pull back. Even Gamera the Brave, arguably the most family-friendly version of the modern era.
Yeah.
You see Zetas like munching on people.
And you see the blood all over the teeth and everything.
Yeah. So you're already staying quite true to the Gamera method.
I'd like to mention, we can't hear it right now, but you see how Boko's kind of like zoning out?
Mm-hmm.
There was a ringing in his head.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, just like, they don't really address it. He doesn't even say anything.
Mm-hmm.
But you just hear the ringing. And after the ringing, there's these 2 Gaos that are going to pop up right now. They like respond to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's something we'll find out. I mean, can we start saying stuff? What happens in the final episodes?
Yeah, we can. It's alluding to like a storyline down.
Yeah, like so. Apparently, Boko is how do we say the chosen child that has the code to make these Kaiju evolve to like their final forms and whatever the Foundation controls them.
Again, playing into the mythos. Yeah. Because now this has given us a connection with the humans and the monsters that the Kaneko Gamera series gave us.
Yeah.
Except this time there's no like pennant, that anybody's carrying around. But when we get later on, especially I think in this episode we see it too, like when Gamera shows up, when he's fighting the Gaos, like Boko like feels Gamera's pain.
Yeah.
It's not as aggressive as it was with
Akane in the movie, right?
Yeah.
I don't know her real life actress name, but I know it's Akane.
Right? So, it's
I'll call Carly back in a bit. But what I was going to end up finishing off with that, so now I guess that's the point where they start getting chased after by Kaiju. Now they know who Boko. I think Boko is the one they all want.
Yeah.
The kids just happen to be all together at the same time.
Yes. And now we're introduced to the Foundation.
Yes.
So these guys are running around looking like they're extras from The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. Like they're all dressed like they're mariners. They all got the beanies on. They got the uniform. And they're talking about containment. So this is our shadow organization that we're not quite sure what's going on, but at first it feels like they're making them out to be like the monarch of the show.
Yeah.
Like to explain all of the monsters, and these 2 guys are looking at this containment field of these eggs, which will play in the next episode. But one of the greatest running gags on the show too, the JDSF.
They don't do anything. They're on standby. Well, here, you go ahead and explain, yeah.
So, because the U.S. military is being given orders by the Foundation, the JDSF, all they do is stand around and wait. Like, they are literally the background extras on a movie set. They're just like, all right, well, when we get to your scene, you'll be needed. All these tanks are ready to go. This is, I love the introduction, like, between these two characters. It's just so matter of fact, and they're just so bored. And
pulls out the gum.
This is one of the best running gags, because every episode, these guys pop up, they sit around, and they're literally just sitting around chewing gum. And
he's making little origami
characters of all the monsters too. So now we're back to the Air Force, taking on the Gaus, and of course it's going bad because they're Gaus.
Yeah.
You're dealing with flying creatures of various size and shape.
Here, I actually think they gain an upper hand, at least against the smaller ones.
Yeah. Again, there's some that are about the size of a car. There's some that are about the size of a dog, and then there's some big ones too. Like they start getting.
I think this is when the biggest
Yep.
Is when he comes in.
The big one. Yeah. So now we got the movie size Gaus.
Yes.
The big Gaus. Who, by the way, like, again, the nice little attention to detail, like when they're shooting the laser, and you see them cutting like the buildings in half and it's melting.
Yes.
Things you couldn't do in the movies, like just those little extra details. That's
the fun part about animation sometimes. I know we all scream for our Suitmation back, but there are just things that animation can do, and I don't hate it.
Well, I call it the super atragon of it all.
Yeah.
Because you can make an atragon model look only so cool, but in animation you can give it death wheels. Like you can make it look as big and bold because there's no restriction on it.
Make it fly. The kids are watching this whole time, like.
And Brody's having a crisis of identity because now he's watching the American Air Force get its ass handed to it on a silver platter by the Gaus, and he's not taking and now he's about ready to take out his anger on
the other kids.
On the other kids, but you got that moment of like, oh, there's something behind me, isn't there? Yeah. It's a big ass Gaus.
And they finally start running away.
Now, here's the thing. What do you think about because clearly the Kaiju are on like a different model than the rest of the characters. And this episode, most of all, like the interaction between this thing too. What do you think of the new weapon, the razor tongue?
I think they're pretty cool. I hope it's not like a substitute for Baragon. I hope Baragon, we still see him someday.
Hopefully. I mean, look, man, if we get a season 2, like you can go like that's when you start bringing in all the fabled lost monsters and stuff too.
Which happen to be like a lot of my favorites.
Yeah. But you could definitely do. Yeah, you
could do Legion.
Yeah.
But I definitely appreciate the new tongue attack. It's pretty cool.
Because that was the thing when I saw 10 minutes of this at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And they didn't show the laser. They didn't. I
remember you telling me that.
I thought this is this is their new attack now. And then I'm sitting around, I'm like, oh, they do have the laser.
By the way, they're talking about the new. I love how everything kind of happens off screen. They're talking about the new like blip on the screen. There's something bigger heading our way.
Something out of the way. And they're like, and then General's like, now what the hell now?
What's going on now? Yeah.
What the hell now? Which again, calling back to the first Gamera, when they got the Gaus and they're like, there's something approaching the bay, and they're like, what? Now what?
Now what?
So the kids are running from the Gaus. They run back into the arcade. And of course the Gaus, they're wily.
Yeah.
They're wily. They're smart. Yeah. And this is art. So I'll say this right here. This for me was probably the roughest looking part of the show.
Coming to the arcade?
Coming to the arcade with the Gaus chasing after him. Like, this is where I was sitting there, I'm like, ooh, okay. Like, I could see this is where people might bring up issue with the look of the show.
Yeah.
But, to their credit, this is probably the worst aspect of the whole show. Like, the animation picks up. This feels like they either were rushing through, or it's just the fact that it's the monster models, which are clearly done,
much better than anything else around them.
Yeah.
And then.
Yeah, they don't mix. And then now, right as the kids are about ready to be eaten.
So you know who comes. We already all know who's here. If you know Gamera, you know who's here.
You hear the jets.
Yes.
And there's the blowback, which again, a beautiful callback to Gamera 3, and the Shinjuku attack.
When he lands.
Yeah. Still one of the greatest moments. And everybody's just like getting scalded and crap by his jets and stuff.
That was like one of the most realistic takes on like a kaiju attack.
Dude,
that just shows up out of nowhere.
Were you there at the showing at G-Fest?
Oh yeah, back in '99. That was one of the greatest. That was one of my favorite theater movie experiences of my life.
Mine, because everybody was into that. Like when that sequence hit. Now, here we go. This is where now we're rolling. Now we see Gamera in all of his glory. Now, you being the Gamera fan, thoughts on the design?
I like it a lot. Especially after watching the show, there's no discrepancies. I used to think that he recognizes the kids.
Yeah.
At that point, I used to think the eye when I saw it in the trailers that it looked a little cute, but I think they kind of refined it.
Yeah.
A bit before the show came out.
And so off the bat, we get the plasma blast. Yeah. I love that they kept the plasma ball. I always felt that was one of the greatest things. And the thing with animation, his arms can move now.
Yes, and look at I love that this Gamera is so smart.
Yeah.
he's like seeing each Gauss. He's fucking swinging away, grabbing him, smashing him in his hand.
Again, the beautiful thing about what the Kaneko movies introduce is the fact that these aren't regular monsters. These aren't natural.
Yeah.
Like the Kaneko movie introduced, Gamera's a bioweapon.
Yeah.
The Gauss are bioweapons. Like, so
they were created.
So they are not natural. There's a hint. There's more sci-fi and fantasy in them than any of the Godzilla stuff, which are they're just monsters.
Yeah.
Here, like Gamera's like just murder time. Gauss are just
they're popping. He's throwing them down, getting them off his shoulder. They're falling in pieces. Look at that.
Monster blood all over the place. Like, and not only that, but like Gamera's not like he's taking damage too. Like he's getting cut open.
Even by little ones.
Yeah. Oh, the glass in the eye again. A fantastic like.
They finally use their piss balls.
I love the glass in the eye, like just showing just how resilient the Gausses are. Like you can like just mutilate them and they'll keep going unless you just outright kill them.
Yeah.
So Boku,
our hero, he tells them we need to go back for Brody. So
as they're being stalked by an injured Gauss, Gamera notices, it's like a roach.
Yeah.
Step right down, and again, the attention to detail. The kids go flying from the concussion blast. The Gamera stepping down. Like this is where you're sitting up. You're like, oh, okay, this is where the good is. What do you think about the bioluminescence when Gamera fires?
When he fires, I like that.
You like it?
It's a nice little addition, and it ties into the whole later on we'll find out about the Aurelium.
Mm-hmm.
It all ties into that.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been arguing for the last decade that Pacific Rim has made a little bit of an impact on kaiju design.
Yeah.
With the bioluminescence, and it's clearly here too.
I love it. I know I have a friend who didn't really like the new design of Gamera, but I'm feeling it, and it reminds me of that New York Comic-Con trailer.
The proof of concept trailer.
Yeah. They kind of hinted at it like that whole scene where the Gauss are all flying into Gamera.
Yeah,
and he does the plasma
this
ball.
is all lifted from that teaser. The only thing we didn't get was the weird new monster.
Which could still happen, right?
Could still happen. Look, for the longest time, I always thought that was just some updated Virus, but apparently I've been told different. So
he did that weird bubble attack.
Yeah. Which I thought was cool as hell. Look, give me your anime attacks.
By the way, this is where he's the general's talking about, man, these are like those Japanese kaiju.
Yeah, what do you call them?
What do you call them? And the guy's like kaiju, and he's like,
yeah,
so these kaiju now.
You watch enough of these movies. How do we kill them? He's like, I don't know. We've never dealt with this stuff.
Oh, it was caramel. Oh, they're like little caramel. Sorry, it's not gum.
They're little candies. And again, they're shady as that. They're just sitting there like, yeah, there's shit's going down, but we're on standby.
In their own country.
Yep. Finding out the Air Force just completely got obliterated, and now there's a giant turtle. And not only that, but there's like no like, oh, that's interesting. No, like, really? There's a giant turtle? Oh, no, yeah, okay, that's cool. By the way, again, this is where animation works. The Gamera suits, because it's the dude in the suit, you got the shell and stuff. The movements are, all credit in the Kaneko movies. They did much better than the original series, but
oh, absolutely.
The shell moves with Gamera now. Like, it's
you can see
segmented.
the pieces,
Yeah.
Again, the design looks like it's coming from that Gamera from the trailer, that New York Comic-Con. That shell looks just like his.
The plasma ball. So this is the big gals is taking on Gamera now. Oh, just so much. And there we go. Like we get a one-on-one, just ripping into them, blasting them.
I just love how right across the face. I just love how visceral this fight is. Look at the Gamera
on his neck and
trying to rip the fucking wing. I wish he would have ripped the wing.
Oh, I know. Again, here's where animation works best is because you can, and the way how fast Gamera's move. He jumps. He jumps.
He's a fighter. It's so stabs out the eye.
Stabs out the eye.
He's just, like so strategical about it.
Yes, and not only that, but I'm not playing around. Like I am taking this MFR out. The Gauss, and not only that, the three shot plasma ball. Again, a beautiful callback.
Sorry, Gauss.
Yep.
Too many G's.
Creates a shockwave too.
The kids are saying it's hot. It's so far away, but it's still hot. I love that attention to detail like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We've never got to see Gamera move like this. And it just adds so much, because that's the thing about Gamera. Gamera's, now we got the military attacking them. Boku's trying to tell them no.
See, Boku's like the only one, I think at this point, who understands that Gamera.
And he's already named him too. He's like named him Gamera. They're like, wait, where did you pull that out of? So we don't have, like, listeners, we don't have sound right now, but, there was like a little ringing before he said Gamera. Yeah. And the takeoff.
The new flight.
Okay. What do you think about the exhaust coming out of the flippers?
Oh, I love it. I think it's pretty cool.
He's full jet mode. It's, again, those little, you're keeping what is known and you're adding a flavor to it. That, I absolutely love the jets coming out of the flippers.
And one thing I want to mention, which I'll probably mention again when we see it a little later, in the later episodes, I think the flippers are an extra set of arms. There's parts in the last couple episodes, Gamera loses his arm.
Yeah.
But for some reason, when he goes into flying mode,
he still has the flippers. That's true. Back. That's right.
And I thought it was a mistake, but they did it twice.
So they might be because in the Heisei films they morph.
Yeah.
But this might be something.
They have the wings flap out.
And now we're introduced to our next two main characters, the members of the Foundation, who are introducing themselves to our heroes, and this is where, and they named and gave them the name of the Gauss. Yes. And the ending, which again, I love a good.
Let me put the watch credits on.
Yeah. I love I miss the days when cartoons would have the character models. Yeah. Like the old Hanna-Barberas, like you would just show. This is a fantastic ending. I love just the focus on, again, they're already giving away all the other.
They're kind of giving away a lot of the surprise, though. Yeah. I'm glad I always skipped the credits when I first watched this, because I never saw that. The Hyper Gauss. Yeah. I never saw the design until the end.
Yeah. The first episode, the first one, because the first episode I give the full credit watch, and then I skip everything else. But I saw that, I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't see that.
Even the opening credits kind of give up a little too much.
They do, which is why
that's an anime
It's a trope now.
Trope. That's an anime trope, yeah.
Believe it, like, again, the aforementioned Shin Mazinger that I love, they gave away so much in the later episodes in the opening.
Yeah. Like, again, that opening credits has the dead body of Gamera with the arm missing.
Yeah.
Like, right there.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, we already know something's going to happen.
Yeah, see, there's the Hyper Gauss.
Yeah, and it's like,
I'm glad that was a surprise for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the beauty is, at least especially with the way Netflix, rolls, it's like 10 seconds into the credits, we're moving on to the next thing. So,
yeah.
So if you just let it roll, that's what you're getting. So, that is episode 1.
Should I pause it? Or
yes.
just let it run?
No, just
okay, let it run?
It. Yeah. No, just pause it.
Okay.
We got to wrap up the episode soon.
Yeah, that's right.
So overall, final thoughts.
I think it was a good start. I know you told me that was one of the more slower ones when we were texting each other.
Mm-hmm.
I never saw that footage at San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
So it was all fresh for me.
Yes.
And just seeing the Gauss eat people, and I was actually liking all the kids. Like, I don't hate any of the characters.
Yeah.
Brody's the perfect, a-hole.
Yeah.
Kids are cool, they're all trying to be friendly. Character development.
Yeah.
But the monsters, I'm always here for the monsters.
That final
the
Gamera.
Gauss were good. The Gamera was good. The fight was good. I was like, I am ready for this show.
Yeah. The brutal fight, especially when Gamera's stepping on Gauss's neck.
Yeah.
And he's trying to rip him in half. You're like, yes, this is what you want.
I wish he had tore that wing off. I'm a big proponent of like kaiju fights. I know a lot of my I know a lot of the Godzilla fandom and friends, they want a well-written story, which I totally agree with. I want that too.
Yeah.
But ever since I was a kid, I want a good kaiju rumble. I grew up with these monsters.
Dude, it's what speaks to. Look, yes, look again. My co-host on the main show, she's a girl, but she loves dinosaurs and stuff. Yeah. But for boys and men, we love watching stuff fight. I love watching a good nature video, like when a rhino takes on like an elephant. You're like, we gotta see who's gonna win. Like, it's in our DNA.
Yeah, or when you see like a freaking crocodile like snatch a wildebeest.
Yes,
yeah,
it's why we love watching boxing. It's why we love watching MMA. It's why we love watching wrestling. You want to see who's going to be bested. You want to see the combat. You're invested in it. It's why pro wrestling even exists, because it's like, well, we could do this without making sure the guy, and we can build. We can actually control it.
Yeah.
And that was the director himself even said, he's like, the focus of the show is Kaiju Pro Wrestling.
Which I love. I'm all behind it.
Because this was the sampler platter of what was to come.
Yes.
Like, spoilers are spoilers. The fights increase. They get better and better and better. And I'm so glad they didn't blow the wad. They just gave you a taste of what's to come. And like, here's why you're letting this run.
Yeah.
Because Netflix is asking, are you still watching? Of course I am. I'm all in on this.
This Gamera's versatile. He does all kinds of moves.
When we get in, there's some new stuff. Yeah. There's some new, that I sat up. I'm like, what the? And we're gonna get into that in the next episode.
I was watching this by myself, like no one here in the house. And if you would see me, I was like, oh, here we go, here we go.
So the first 3 episodes I watched from like 12 a.m. to like 3 a.m.
You watched it when it came out, right?
I was texting you because I knew you were up working.
I'm like, dude.
And I'm trying not to spoil it, but I have to, like, it's those moments when you're like, I gotta tell someone.
Yeah.
I gotta tell somebody. It's what good storytelling does. It's when you get the thing you've always wanted to see, and you get, and the fact that, yes, I love the way Gamera moved. We saw him jump. Truly for the first time. Like, even in the Showa films, if he jumps, it's always just kind of like he's on a string, he's kind of just being tossed.
It's kind of comical.
It's comical.
Yeah.
The Heisei one, he's pretty grim because he's pretty much a tank.
Yeah.
Like, he's a big tank. Like, the improvements on the suits later on gave him it's like the Nolan Batmans. They improved on the suit each time.
Yes.
So he can turn his head. But the big arms, the way that the shell can move now. Like, he can turn around and grab stuff out. He can grab the Gauss out of the sky and just crush them.
In the hands.
And they're not shying away from the blood either, which is true to form with Gamera. So, all right. Well, that's wrapping it up for episode 1 of the rundown of Gamera Rebirth. As always, if you like what you hear, you can find more of us on Facebook.com/The Kaiju Kingdom Podcast, Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it now, at The Kaiju Kingdom, and the same with Instagram at The Kaiju Kingdom. Lenny, people want to see your work. You do art.
I do lots of art.
Shill away, sir.
I will shill away. I'm at Lenzations on all social media platforms: Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and my favorite, Instagram.
Spell that out just in case they don't.
LenZations.
And if you've never seen this, I've featured a lot of Lenny's work on our social media. The man does it old school, and he does it with how it should be pen and paper. Or pencil and paper, actually.
Pencil or pen on paper, yeah.
And
I love the traditional.
It is magnificent. So hopefully you guys check out some of his work. Check out his Etsy store. Go buy some of this man's brilliant work. I got a lot of it hanging up in my house alone. You should too. So, and of course,
no pressure.
And of course, if you like this show, you can check out our main show, the Kaiju Kingdom Podcast, and you can also check out our sister show, Common Kaisers, with my co-host RN, where we talk about the orbits of Tokusatsu. We get a little more culty. We get some fun stuff in there. Mm-hmm. So, on that note, that will do it for this edition of the Rundown, Gamera Rebirth. For myself and Lenny. Thanks for listening, guys.
See you on the next episode.
Exactly.